Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. We have some transfer news, and here to go through that with me, I have two of the finest pundits since Alan Hansen and Mark Lawrenson left Match of the Day, and this time they're actually Evertonians. We have the one and only, all the way back from Australia, we have Davey Weston.
Good day, mate.
I loving that. And we have the finest of them all, Mr. Robbie P. How are you, Robbie?
Absolutely fantastic.
Wes.
Welcome back, Wes. Welcome back, Wes.
Thanks very much, Robbie. Loving the top, mate.
Retro.
I feel a bit out of place here in my orange away kit, which doesn't receive many compliments, I must say. But it's nice to be in such esteemed company for this one. And Wes, we've got to address the elephant in the room. We're back. Your famous couch position that the Follow Everton contingent are used to seeing you in, with the clock behind. How does it feel to have left sunny Australia in the wintertime, actually, to come back here?
It was a bit touch and go, though, with this air traffic control thing going down. We was stuck in Singapore, wondering whether we were going to get back and stuff. And believe me, Singapore is like being inside a sauna. It was unbelievably humid, but we made it, and I can't wait to get stuck into this stream and have a good old bit of positivity with the signings, or the signing, and possibly another one or two on the horizon.
Coming back to some good news, I imagine, and nice to see you back in one piece. And I don't know how you're doing this, to be honest. I imagine you'd be extremely jet lagged. Robbie, there's no jet lag over there. Back in the gym where we were talking last night, we've had over 2,000 views on YouTube watching that stream, and dozens of new subscribers off the back of it. Robbie, it was a good one, and we talked about Beto, and we finally got him over the line. How are you feeling?
Yeah, now that it's been announced, I think the Dan Juma situation back in January, and to be honest with you, Suleimana was linked with us as well, but everyone was turning us down. I didn't realise that Beto had a bit of an affiliation with the blue. Loved Lukaku, got a football kit a couple of years ago, and he's kind of been a bit of an Evertonian. Anyway, when we saw the photographs of him at the Titanic, some of the people were coming out with negative comments saying he doesn't look too bothered to be here, does he? But it shows you how people will pick up on body language. And when you see the videos today, oh, what a charming young man. He'll be an asset to us.
Agreed. Wes, on the back of that, let's talk about the player himself, and then we'll come and really talk about his first interview. Or do you want to do the interview first and then talk about the player? What do you fancy?
I've been trying to scroll through and find the interview, right? So I've got all my hands up and say I haven't actually seen this interview
Okay,
yet.
that's all right. That actually helps me, because what it means is I can read out some of the statements and get your thoughts. You're like a gut reaction. Let's talk about the player first, Dan. 6'4". You know, my dad is a 67-year-old Evertonian with a season ticket in the top balcony. His phone, his Apple Watch was pinging over lunch. Ryan, what's this? We've signed a striker, Dad. What? What? We signed a striker? You know, this is a guy who doesn't use any social media. He's an absolute technophobe when it comes to Facebook and Twitter. He's not on those things, which is good. He said, what's going on? I said, he's a 30 million pound striker, 6'4". He went, what? And then I told him Alex Iwobi might be leaving, and he went, what? He seemed shook by this whole thing, completely shocked. But by all means, you know, the gut reaction is widely positive. The 6'4", decent physique. He's not particularly. He's a very fast over a medium to long distance. He takes a little bit while to get up to speed, but once he's running and once he stretches those legs out, he's quick. Goals to games ratio, if you look at the stats, it's about 11 goals last season, but he only played the equivalent of around 28 full 90 minutes. So his goal to game ratio and the season before very similar. He looks like it's there. And so he ticks a lot of boxes even before we talk about that interview, as Robbie talked about. Your reactions on signing a player with that record and the 30 million euros?
I think, ultimately it's an exciting prospect, and it is getting all the fans excited, because we've had 2-3 years where we can't score goals, and there's 10 goals or whatever he got in 32 games last season. It probably doesn't do him justice, because he didn't play a lot of 90-minute football. So hopefully he can stay fit for starters, and he seems at 6'4", he seems to be like an old type centre forward, but we don't want to be just like lobbing the balls into him. We need to have a bit of crafted guile as well, and coming from Portugal, I can imagine he's got that anyway.
He played in Portugal. He's Portuguese. He's from Udinese in Italy, kind of a lower mid-table team. But worth noting, actually, Wes, that technically he is decent. His touch is good, and he's not just a let's hang a long ball up and hope he knocks it down to Chimiti, Calvert-Lewin, and Beto as some sort of giant front three. So there is a hold-up play. He can bring others into play. Technically, he's good, and it's nice that we're going to have someone who can offer that option to hoof it if we need to play out and get it long and play for position, but also we're playing, some actual genuine football. So it's nice. He's not just, he's not just a lump that you can hit it to. He's got a bit about him.
Yeah. I don't. Did you read up on his assists and stuff last season, right? Or
yeah, well, I tend to go to my stat guy, which is Mr. Robbie Pritchard. But Robbie is not an assister particularly, is he? He's more he's involved in the build up to goals, but he doesn't tend to get a lot of assists.
Yeah, last season 33 games, 10 goals, 1 assist. The season before, he's only been around 2 years. Season before, 11 goals, no assists. He started off in Portimonense in Portugal, Udinese. They only bought him for 7 million. That was only last year, 7 million euros. So they've made a handsome profit on him. I know we're not paying him.
He was working in KFC 5 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
It was phenomenal.
4 years ago, yeah. So he was on loan to Udinese, backwards and forwards, Portimonense, over to Udinese, and then he went, yeah, go on, we'll buy him. But they only bought him last year.
Yeah.
When I say last year, 21-22.
It was a buy. I think it was a loan with a buy obligation, Rob.
Yeah. So he's, but the mere fact that everyone's been jibbing us because they think we're rubbish. The mere fact that he's gone, yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I'll play for you. I am a blue. It's like a little dream to him. I think that helps. No one's got his arm up his back. His agents hasn't gone, well, you know what? I think you should swerve this because there's a lot of things going on. I think that makes the difference. The fact that the lad wants to be here, because we've got a couple of players on the books at the moment that don't want to be there, but he wants to come. So I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a diamond. I'm going to call it.
I always said to you, or I've always said on the streams, I said, I find it hard to believe that there are players that don't want to come here and play in the Premier League for a historic team, earn money and be successful. And it's proven that there are, and I imagine there will be plenty more before the deadline. And Wes, just because I mentioned this with Robbie yesterday, by the way, Robbie, that was great points and stats. Wes, we don't have to pay a penny to Udinese until next financial year, July 2024. There's no upfront fee for this player. How good of a deal is that from Kevin Thelwell? Can you believe that he's managed to bring this player in?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a bit of flack, Thelwell, in the past 2 years. So that there is a bit of great work from him. Like, we don't have to put any money down. And then obviously the deal's going to be structured over 4 years as well, the length of the contract. So the payments will probably be like 8-9 million each season or whatever. But
yeah,
it's amazing that you can get a deal like that over the line without having to shell a penny out.
And interesting that Lukaku actually was available for 5 million loan fee, and he could have ended up playing with his idol at Everton if we'd have perhaps needed maybe another striker if Calvert-Lewin had moved on or something, whatever. Robbie, are you surprised it's only a 4-year contract, maybe not a 5-year deal?
Yeah, I thought it'd be 5 years, to be honest with you. Particularly because then obviously they could have paid less each financial year. But you know what? And going back to Lukaku, because the fans have sort of been hoping and praying. At the end of the day, Ryan and Wes, if Lukaku would have wanted to come, he'd have only had to phone his agents up and go, make it happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. But with Lukaku, yeah, you know what you're going to get it from him, and he's 30 now. So are we kind of hoping that we get the Lukaku back that we had and sold him on for a good profit, or are we going to get or would we get a faded Lukaku who's like sort of playing decently, or I've been playing decently in an inferior league, in the Serie A.
Well, don't use that comparison when we've just signed our 30 million euros plus striker from Serie A. But I think Wes, he's been a little bit ridiculed at Inter Milan in recent times for missing some sitters. But I think no doubt he's a really good signing for Roma. Interestingly enough, the comparisons between Lukaku and Beto are clear, and none other than Beto himself in his interview actually stating that Romelu Lukaku is a massive Romelu Lukaku fan. And let's have a talk about that interview then. So let me just bring the bits of information up. Firstly, the guy's called Norberto Bersique Gomez Betuncal.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I think that's why people just call him Beto. And Everton have done exactly as I've described him: a powerful, hard-working forward, boasting a burst of pace, aerial ability, and excellent hold-up play. I mean, that gives me shivers, because we've seen what we've witnessed in the past couple of years has been utter garbage. And this is what he says. He says, it feels good to join Everton. I've always appreciated them. It's a big club in the Premier League, well respected, big history. It was easy to move. He also said, if I remember, he went when he was welcome to Everton. He went finally, because Everton actually tried to get him in January, as I reported, 31st of Jan, deadline day, 25 million we offered. He said, my idol was Samuel Eto'o. He played here. And Lukaku, a massive Lukaku fan. I'm going to bring more on that in a moment. He says he can bring courage, confidence, and effort, which are the three things that Evertonians have as minimum standards. The maximum effort is a minimum requirement, as Sean Dyche would say. I will always bring enthusiasm to the team and to our games. I bloody hope so, because none of the others are enthused. And he feels like his style is a good fit for Everton. Straight away, Robbie, thoughts on that little first passage of the of his interview?
It just ticks all the boxes, whereby all the Evertonians, not just in our city, all around the world, it'll put a smile on their face. And like, Saturday and the previous couple of Saturdays, it's in the past, and we're all in anticipation for, okay, maybe tomorrow, because it's, we're playing again, but made particularly for getting the points off the board. And I don't just mean 1 point on Saturday against Sheffield United. I need 3 points. And wouldn't it be fantastic on his debut to go have a bit of that?
Absolutely. I agree. I want him to play tomorrow, to be honest, but we'll talk more about that in the Doncaster match preview, which is live straight after the stream at 7:10 with Mr. Mabsy, Amy, and Wes. And I think Robbie's going to try and sneak in as a full. I can see him. He's not going to want to miss out on that. But it might be slightly chaotic because none of them are actually hosts with controls to actually run a stream. So is it going to be like the blind leading the blind, or is it going to be like four mates down the pub talking about Everton? We'll see. But I will be there with my popcorn to tune into that one. So I will post the link to that in a moment.
Also, but just on the
yeah, I've got more quotes, but yeah, please go on.
The Beto signing, he spoke to Gerard Deulofeu apparently, who couldn't speak highly enough of us.
It's inevitable, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, did you see what he posted, Gerard Deulofeu?
Very quickly, Wes, would you take him back?
Yeah. You wouldn't, Robbie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, his stats are absolutely outstanding, and his current market value is only 10 million euros. I'd have him back tomorrow. I'd get a flight over there and bring him back. I'd even get a private jet and bring him back.
You might not be able to get a flight over there, Robbie.
That's why I'm going for a private jet.
Very good, love it. I knew someone who had one of them on the weekend. Private joke.
Oh yeah,
the boys are nodding their head. Say no more. But it is interesting. Deulofeu kind of would fit the mold of a player that would bring kind of like the final third composure with his delivery, still possesses pace and does score goals. Injuries perhaps and fitness are one of the concerns, but I think as a player that could bring something to Everton now with more experience, I would absolutely take him for the right price. Looking at the rest of this interview, he said, when a club like Everton tries to buy you in January and comes for the summer, you think, oh, they want me for real. I'm looking forward to getting started today right now. The team needs to score more goals, and I will try to help with this. I love to score goals. I know we need this, and I'm here to help. I will always give my best to score goals. I've got to be honest, the cynic in me is thinking this guy was working in KFC 4 years ago. He wasn't playing professional football. He's only got 2 years in Italy. But expel that negativity out of my brain.
Just think Jamie Vardy.
I'm thinking 6'4" beast with pace and strength. I'm thinking, Lukaku is his idol. I mean, he's really excited me.
The thing is now though, we've got options. You know what I mean? Like the last 2-3 seasons, we haven't had options. We've either praying DCL gets over his injuries quicker.
Who's that? Sorry,
Evertonians.
Who's that? Sorry, who's DCL? Not interested in him anymore. Robbie, where does this leave Yusuf Chimiti?
I think he looked good when he came on the other day.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. As Wes has just said, we've got options, haven't we? And we've got a couple of days left. There is going to be more additions to our squad. Yeah. And there's also going to be more shown the door.
Yeah, definitely.
Wes, just very briefly on Chimiti then, within 60 seconds, summarise that, what you saw from him on his debut.
Very very eager to get himself involved and wanting the ball, which in a team of players who have never looked at for the past 2-3 seasons like they want the ball, that was a breath of fresh air. It was like, give me the ball. And when the ball it was sticking to him when he got the ball.
Yeah, he was making it difficult for the defenders.
And not just that, he was telling the players, I can't remember who it was now, but they threw some like stupid pass into him, like high ball that he couldn't control. And straight away, he was on the case. I don't want it there. I want it here. Do you know what I mean? So fair play to him. He's already backing out his orders. He's coming straight into the squad.
Yeah, I like that. He was saying, I want it to jest. Let's go back to this interview for now, which is really quite a good interview. I want to cover this, and I want to also talk about Iwobi, and I'm conscious we've got 14 minutes till you're on our next stream. Obviously, he wants to get started. It feels good to be here. Sean Dyche said, we are eager to strengthen our striking options and add more attacking quality to our squad. And I haven't got a pot of gold. No, he didn't say that last bit. He said the arrival of Beto gives us more attacking quality. He's impressed in a top league for the past 2 seasons to score goals. He's powerful. He can carry the ball, hold the ball up. He's strong in the air and works hard. He has a lot of attributes that we hope to see him prove to be a success. So that's really, really exciting. And this is what I loved about the interview as well. He said he said, the fan support means a lot to me. I've not even played a game with the team yet. Everton's a great club. Come join us. People were saying, come to score. Obviously, he talked about Deulofeu. He said, I've always wanted to play at Everton because of the city, the derby and everything. The fans at Everton are a little bit more of a step up than other fans. I'm excited to play for you. I mean, that's exceptional. And he went on to say in a separate little thing where you could see him actually in a 2016-17 home shirt with Lukaku 10 on the back training a few years ago. And he was asked about this, and he said he was reminiscing about Everton, saying he's always been, his friends bought him this top because they knew he was an Everton fan. So Beto saying he was a Blue, an Everton fan. And we was talking about such a good team with Lukaku, Barkley, Coleman, Baines, and Morales. I mean, what more can you want? You've got this player coming in as a striker with all these quality attributes, who's not only saying he's happy to be here, but he's telling us that he's an Everton fan. Unless someone really cleverly has paid him to get the fans on side and say these things, you can't ask for much more. Saying he's an Evertonian for 10 years and
he's
his
saying,
idol.
He's saying all the right things that the fans want to hear, and to a point, like you said there, right, you don't know whether that a lot of that is sort of like led by somebody. And don't get me wrong, I've seen them in the Everton shirt.
Cynical.
But they are sort of steered down the path of what things to say and things not to say, and especially since the Aaron Lennon signing, when he looked miserable as sin, and all the Evertonians got on his case. It was like, well, he looks really happy. Since that, every signing that we've made has definitely been told to put a smile on the face.
And he had a massive grin. He had an absolutely massive grin, didn't he, Robbie? He looked ecstatic and over the moon, saying all the right things, doing all the right things on paper, and being able to get him with no upfront fee. I mean, could this get any better, Robbie?
No, not at all. I mean, we all thought the Dele Alli deal was not a bad deal, where we weren't paying no money up front, but this exceeds our expectations, doesn't it? And we've all three of us have got a lift, and I'm sure thousands and millions of other Blues have got a lift, because kind of on Saturday, I'm sure a lot of them were saying, "Oh, we're done here." So we can breathe new life into it again, can't we? And we go again Saturday. So it's I know we go again tomorrow, but in the Premiership. So I'll be honest with you, I because he's a Blue anyway. I think he's kind of he gets us. I wouldn't say an agent or whatever has said, listen, you need to say this, you need to say that. He's got his shirt, and he knows the score. So I'm gonna call that one and go, yeah, do you know what? That's all from his heart, that one.
Yeah, he's a Blue. I think Wes has been slightly cynical there, playing devil's advocate. I think he's definitely diehard Blue. If he's lived the glory days of Lukaku, Barkley, Morales, Coleman, and Baines, and seen us go from that to kind of, we had the England contingent, as we talked about, the Rooney, the Barkley, all that, and then we had the Richarlison, the Marco Silva, Marco Brands contingent, and he's sat through all that, and the Carlo, and he still wants to join us, having seen these last 2 years. Then credit to him, because we're not the same team. If he thinks he's coming to the 2013-14 Everton team and it's going to be the focal point like Lukaku, he's got another thing coming. I've got a few more minutes. I think we've got 5-6 minutes. People are not having the fake thing. It was not fake at all. It was absolutely brilliant.
No, I'm not saying it was fake. I'm just saying that, sometimes when you get sometimes when you get signings, they are
they chat bollocks to get attention. Yeah,
exactly. I'm not saying he's done that. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to backpedal on what I said.
I love the way the Chang logo was blurred out.
He is a genuine Evertonian, but there's also outside forces involved with players, agents, and stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's him, but that's what happens in interviews. They get told what to say.
White Shadow summed it up. He said, I think we've lucked out. He's an Everton fan, and Udinese preferred to accept a crappy financial offer for some reason. I mean, it's fantastic. There's lots of good comments, lots of positivity. Thank you, everyone, for dropping by on the stream. We're going to talk about Alex Iwobi, and then I'd like it if everyone can join us over on the match preview for Doncaster, where I'll be passing over the reins to this motley crew, Mabsy, Wes, Robbie, and Amy, and hopefully one of them. I think Robbie could host a stream. In at the deep end. He's the newest member. I think he could probably give some direction to what it looking at. He's like, shit.
I can see a future, I can see a future there with my follically challenged friend there, where we do a little double act.
I had a head shave
Robertson and
whilst I was
Carsley.
in Australia as well.
And you know, I'd love to work with Mabsy and Jan and Jonathan and Amy and Steve and whatever. We're here. We're here to get the messages over, but to have a laugh and like, look what's happened over the last week with your new subscriptions and figures going through the roof. It's great, fantastic.
Let's talk about Alex Iwobi then. This news broke this morning. There was rumours. I mean, the context behind this is that Everton had offered a new deal to Alex Iwobi 18 months ago, which had remained on the table for the past 12 months. Well, a year. There's been a contract on the table for a year offer. He was about to sign it around the same time Jordan Pickford signed his new contract, and stalled. The talk over the last few months is that he wants to go back to London, wants to run his contract down. Alex Damari Gray is another one who talked about Champions League football, but is going to Saudi Arabia. So what does that say about the character of Damari? And what does it say about the character of Alex? Maybe that Everton stuck with him for 3, 4, 5 years. Well, 3 years of absolute dross. He has a good 18 months. He's on serious money and he's turning his back on that contract to try and leave. I'm not saying he's the right or wrong thing. If he wants to move back to London, he's got family there, then fair enough. But personally, I think I would have liked to see him sign a contract at Everton, maybe a 3-year contract with a buyout clause for a European team, a team in Europe or the Champions League, a reasonable one, 15 to 20 million buyout clause, just to protect Everton, because I think he owes that. But in terms of the deal now, it's thought that Fulham, another Premier League club, and a team from abroad really want to sign Alex. However, there's some cooling down on the Fulham side of things today. Talk about business all we want over the next few minutes. I'm going to come to you both. Start with you, Wes. Alex Iwobi, the player. Do you like him? Alex Iwobi, what's the situation? Would you sell him? Should we be forcing the contract? What sort of fee should we be getting? Give us your overall thoughts on that, Wes, and then I'll come to you, Robbie.
I think ultimately, if he doesn't want to sign, we cannot afford to let another player run his contract down and leave for nothing. We've got to get some money for these players that we're signing, because we cannot sustain, life as a football team with the way Everton have been run the past 6 years, buying like average players for big money and letting them leave for nothing. Now, to me, if Iwobi wants to go, he's not some mega star that's going to walk into a top 6 team. He's going to be resigned to playing for the likes of the Fulhams or the Crystal Palaces or, teams like that. He's not good enough to play for the top team. It's as simple as that. And yeah, we've only seen the best of him in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
And, he's before that, he come in for quite, well, he was the cheap
£35 million fee. The player scored 2 goals last season, 9 assists, but before that was not assisting or scoring. We didn't know where he was playing. All of a sudden, the last 12 months, his work rate has increased considerably, but still doesn't suit right wing, doesn't suit left wing. The reason is doesn't score enough goals from either flank, doesn't beat players, doesn't have the pace, doesn't cross the ball well enough. The assists are coming from tucking in and building up through the middle. And the way I see this is that Everton, if they had a right back who could really get forward and provide that width and allow Iwobi to tuck in, could be really good as a midfielder buzzing around this Beto guy. In a 4-4-2, I don't think he could be the right-sided winger hugging the touchline or the left side because his deliveries are too poor. But I think, again, if you've got fullbacks that can bomb forward and provide that width and Iwobi can tuck in and build and link play with the winger and the midfielders and the striker, then I think he could be a good option. But it looks like, despite the fact, we paid a massive amount of money for him, it looks like we're not going to get anywhere near that back. Looks like he's not signing a contract. And the stats, he doesn't always pass the eye test, but sometimes he does. And the stats you can't really argue with in terms of assists last season, but in terms of goals, it's woeful. And I think you've got to have, my perspective, I think you've got to have a wide player who can actually cross the ball, beat a man, and get assists and goals. And maybe he can't do all four of those things and fit a Dyche system. But Robbie, have you got any thoughts on Alex Iwobi? This whole, it's lots of different parts to this, isn't there? We've got 3 minutes left. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'd say what price loyalty, because he had loads of injuries in those first 3 years. So we stuck by him, and he is on mega wages. He played 140 games for Everton, scored 9 goals and 16 assists. So, you know, and if you compare him with Gerard Deulofeu, he's like, he just doesn't. And
he's had one good year. Let's be honest, he's had one good year, Robbie.
One good year, yeah. So for me, his current market value, believe it or not, is £25 million, 28 million euros. We're not going to get that because he's only got 12 months left. So someone's going to come along, and maybe Fulham, and you know, I mean, you can't write the likes of Sheffield United and Luton out. Whether he'd go there, I don't know. But if someone comes along, I wouldn't be taking less than 15 million for him.
Yeah. It's a stressful, it really is. It's a really stressful one because on one hand, he's only had a good 12 months, rubbish for 3 years before that, arguably 2.5 years, actually. He's not a right winger. He's not a left winger. He could probably play in the Decore position quite well, but is he going to score enough goals? No. So you need your two wingers to score the goals, which we don't have. Maybe McNeil and Harrison will get a few, and it's really complicated. And then you're talking about what kind of fee are we going to get? 10 million for me, I think would be okay if it was cash all up front. And if you could put that money along with the Damari Gray money, 10, 12 million, and you've got 22, 25 million to play with cash up front to put a down payment on a genuinely good right winger who's going to get the ball and beat a fullback, cross it in accurately, or get to the byline, or get on the back post and score, or whip something into the box. You know, all the attributes you want from a wide player.
Like
if we could sell Iwobi, say again?
Like a Deulofeu.
If we could sell Iwobi at Gray and get someone who can actually do that, then, you know, I would be not adverse to selling Alex Iwobi. But I think if it was a small fee, just a final note, if it's a small fee, say 4 or 5 million, I'd rather keep the player and let him go on a free at the end of next season, because I think we have to have the bodies in the squad and he's a useful body. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to Alex Iwobi, but we do have another stream scheduled, and I think the lads should probably touch on Iwobi and a few other things they can talk about in that Doncaster preview, which is coming up now. If you want to know how to find that preview, I'll post the link to you. But actually, if you're watching on YouTube, all you need to do is literally click back onto the Follow Everton homepage, and it should just be there as a scheduled stream. It's going to be starting in a couple of minutes. And they'll talk more a little bit about Alex Iwobi, I think, and I think we've made some really good points. It's not black and white, and they'll talk about team news, team selection, and give you a little bit of a genuine chat. There's 81 of you still watching this stream, so I'll be really grateful if every single one of you here, unless you've got something better to do, can just pop over onto that match preview and support the gang for that. So I'm just going to get the link now, if that's okay, so people can jump on there. And I believe Amy is waiting for you too. So I'm just going to post the link on the group chat for you as well, guys. There's a couple waiting. Just going to post the link. This stream is officially over. There's the link for the Doncaster preview. And guys, on the group chat, I will share your invitation. Okay, we good? Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Wes.
Take care.
You going to go over there now?
I've got to go and do a little message because I wasn't expecting to do the back-to-back one.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to do that, Robbie. That's fine. Yeah. There's 3 people on there. Amy's got it covered. Robbie, see you soon, mate.
All right, friends.
Guys, make sure you subscribe, and the link to actually join the stream. I don't know why you're all still here waiting for something. It's there. Go on. See you guys.